pressing record. So I'm not sure anybody's watching the class sessions that I post to YouTube because most of you are here. But just in case, because I showed the Institute on Tuesday, last we met, we got a copyright notice and the video is blocked. So I don't care. I haven't lost the will to bother with it. Yeah, I would hope it would be demonetized, but it's straight up blocked. And I was like, okay, let me make it private. And they're like, okay, yeah, now it's only blocked in some countries, the US being one of them. So I at that point, I guess I could go in and, edit out the Institute part, and cut the other parts together. But I thought about how much time that would take me just in re-rendering the class. And I went, is that worth it? Nah, it's not really worth it. I don't care. So if anybody needs to see Tuesday's class, I would have expected an email or a Discord message saying, hey, class isn't up, but I didn't even get one of those. So I'm guessing that no one went to try and watch Tuesday's class, which is fine. If Tuesday's class doesn't make it in, that's fine. The funny thing is I have shown a bunch of like YouTube videos here that obviously belong to somebody else. And that doesn't get picked up for copyright. So I don't know what's going on. I guess the lawyers for Spencer McCall are just awesome. Okay, so anything else? I am woefully behind on grading. Still haven't done Right Club. I'm the worst. But I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Is it on Netflix? Is the Institute? I think it's on Amazon, but whatever. Might be on Netflix. I swear to God, there was a Netflix show starring Sally Field, America's Sweetheart Sally Field, The Flying Nun, Aunt May, previous Aunt May, as a person who gets involved in playing Jejune. They might know Flying Nun. Google it, man. It's my childhood. I wanted one of those habits. Here, flying. Oh, I can't. It's not worth it. So that the idea that I could fly if I wore a funny hat, I would be all over that. Anyway, Flying Nun, Gidget. She was Gidget. Which, if you think about it, Gidget was a surf thing, so it was Sally Field running around in a bathing suit as a teenager, straight into Sally Field as a nun, which gave me all the feels. How do I think about Sally Field? She's a nun or is she running around in a bathing suit? I don't know. Anyway, so we opened, so to speak, yesterday. We have a rabbit hole. Things are going. seems like it's very exciting. Um, people are talking. I have publicized it various places. I don't know if you're getting players from the places I've publicized, but I think little sisters and big brothers and such are tuning in to see what's going on. So that's good. Have the grade okay. Eddie wants to know, have the grades for the last reading quiz been fixed for everyone? Karen, you're muted.
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, because I got a question from somebody else too that said
the last reading quiz?
Yeah, quiz 6.
I will check.
Okay, go through, because I got an email from somebody with an essay about why their answers were correct. And I kind of went, I forwarded it to you, Karen.
Yeah, no, I thought that's why.
And I'm like, I don't know. Right? Sounds good. I'll give him credit. Whatever. Nothing matters anymore. So,
oh, for goodness sakes.
What? Did I sneak a last quiz that you weren't aware of in on you?
I don't know. I remember we opened this quiz. I don't know. I'm looking at these going like, I know I corrected this. Maybe I only did the one. Sorry, guys. I may have only corrected the one class. Thought I did both of them.
Okay. Well, give it another look-see.
Sorry.
Yeah, Eddie has one wrong just for the first letter being capitalized. So, yeah, that sounds like a thing. And while I appreciate the effort of whoever wrote the essay, a simple question would have been like, "Hey, did you get around to it?" And then I would have forwarded that to Karen. Okay, so back to so first off, we have recruiters here, right? Well, no, let's talk to producers. Lena, Liv. Somebody, can you give us a report on where you think they are? Do you know where they are? Or do you want to turn that over to gameplay or tech or whoever? Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so basically the way that things have gone so far is people found the rabbit hole or had the rabbit hole sent to them, and then they very quickly figured out the first puzzle and then got a little bit confused about what they were supposed to do with the recipe. Mm-hmm. I have like a group of friends who I've played the last like 2 ARGs that you introduced in class with, so I was like, I'll send them mine, and they immediately figured it, and I'm in the chat with them as they're like figuring everything out, immediately figured everything out, and then they were like, well, now what do we do? And then we also had like a bit of a glitch where we hadn't tested if I don't know how to use Twitter. Have never used Twitter before. So I didn't know that if your Twitter is public, you can't get public DMs unless you turn that setting on.
Right.
Because usually it's, if you're public, you can get the DMs unless you turn it off. So we hadn't tested that. So my friends were like, yeah, you can't DM her even though it says you should. And I was like, quick, fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
So we fixed that. And then we got a couple other DMs that we responded to this morning and a couple of emails that came into the email that we responded to as well. And then we sent out a tweet with the instructions basically for the second day's worth of clues, which I think is going pretty well thus far. I do have something that I would really like to discuss with Dennis when he eventually wakes up. I'm assuming he's asleep, which is the autoresponder once you solve the thing for like puzzle 2. Basically like all of the day 2 puzzles, you solve them and then you figure out that there's an email you need to email with a certain phrase, but the autoresponder for that doesn't have a timer on it like we thought it would. It
Yeah.
responds immediately, and that's a bit of a problem. It's not a huge problem, but it's like,
Definitely something for
oh,
tech to figure out. Yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna have to figure that one out.
Okay, so the
Otherwise,
the I gotta say that the Artio core is you guys, right? I see. I'm like doing both, and my wires are crossed, and I gotta always ask because I don't want to give anything away from theirs and vice versa. So I always ask. So Artio core, the forum um, is pretty basic, guys. Um, so it's not getting a lot of use. There are no threads. It's not a threaded forum. It's basically uh, a single thread comment forum, which is not the greatest for having discussions. So I'll just let you know that there's plenty of discussion about your ARG, but it's happening in their Discord, which leaves out all the non class people, right? Unless they start getting they start inviting people to their class forum or their class Discord, which then would give if they're also non-class people are playing their ARG, it would give away all their ARG stuff. So they can't really invite people to their class Discord. So maybe I would recommend find like as a place to hang out and talk about things. First, because it's Artio core, everybody's pretty sure that Artio core is bad and evil. At least as a player, I assume that Artio core is bad and evil because corporations are always evil. So I also hesitate to talk on their website, right? Because the evil people will be listening. So again, I haven't gone through exactly all the tech plans, but if you can find us a different place to talk that is public for everyone, that would be really good. Even if it's just, let me see, Pro Board.
yeah, I think we can switch where the forum is to be on Lucy's blog. We
Okay.
can really quickly like make a post because you can comment on posts and just be like,
Okay.
a
It's
lot of
still
people
not
reached out
great
to me,
because
so
it's
we can do
not
that.
like I'm trying to remember free web forum hosting. Let's try that. Pro Boards, there it is. So let me just recommend this. Um, it's very low. Let me see if email. I definitely have an account on Pro Boards because yes. So wow. So these are here. Let me share this screen with you. Share screen. So oh wait, sorry, that's my whole thing. Share screen. Is that right? Share. Share. Okay. So this is I have not logged into Pro Boards forever. These are all different Pro Boards that I have been part of over the year. over the years from previous args. So, for instance, here I am Hans Gruber, and let's see. So that's my member. Let's go home, and so we've got a full threaded um, forum here where here's discussion. Well, one post about a particular um, puzzle. Problem is nobody bothered to like make accounts temporarily. Sure. So ritual tonight, 3-1, 2 a.m. The ghost. So they're posting pictures and stuff. But the best thing is, you know, we can talk. Here's a Minecraft server. Here's a new code, and you can have a whole thread about a particular puzzle, that you can talk about that thing, and not have kind of cross wiring between I'm talking about this and you're talking about that, and it's all, and I have to read all down like that. That's why Reddit, the year we used Reddit as a subreddit, didn't go well, because nobody could keep track of anything. So you don't have to, just trying to help. If you can get someplace where it's easier for us to talk, that would be great. Yeah, sorry, Lena. It's Lena. Oops. uh, uh, so okay. And what are all these numbers, Luna?
So there's a number of like audience that we have from different countries.
Oh, wow. Okay. How do you know this? Where are you getting this? Is this from the emails?
The Blogger have that function.
We love Google Blogger. We had like 16 people playing in Vietnam, I think. It was like, damn.
Wow. 27 people in Vietnam.
Oh, damn.
Well, I'm Vietnamese, so I've been forcing like my friend playing them. And also I've like my high school was like foreign language specialized, so everyone speak English.
Well, this is the most international ARG we've ever had, mostly, thanks to you for spreading it around, but also because it's online, and they don't feel like, oh, I'm not there, so I can't go to the thing, right? So yeah, I've sent my friends. So let me just talk about one thing, just in case. I hope this doesn't happen, but there's trolling and hijacking, right? And this has happened in the past. So what happens sometimes is people will come in and pretend they're a character, pretend they're part of the ARG, and confuse things, right? And just screw with other people playing. And mostly what you've got to do is have your character say, I don't know this person, please don't listen to this person. Of course, that further obfuscates things, because then, oh, well, maybe depending on which character says that, maybe I should listen to that person, right? And this has also happened in the past, because people from, say, last year or the year before are still around, or 3 years ago are still around. Although it probably well, I don't know, might happen. The and there's remnants of their ARG left over from last year, right? And so they start playing your ARG, and then they say, "Hey, I found this thing," and it's a puzzle from their ARG that has nothing to do with your ARG whatsoever. Um, and then you send a character in to say, "I don't know what that is. Don't waste your time with that." And of course, the players are like, "Oh, well, that character said don't waste my time with that, so I must go over there and waste my time with that." So uh, that muddies the water. The other possibility is to then say, wrap it back into your ARG. Um, but then you have to solve their puzzle and then take their solve and incorporate it somehow into your ARG so that basically you got a free puzzle out of them, right? Where you say, "Well, thanks. The answer to that puzzle is ice cream, and you notice that he is eating ice cream in this picture. That means it's very important, right?" Um, it's very difficult to do that because they will take that as encouragement um, and do it more, and then you're playing their game instead of they're playing your game. The other thing I want to warn you against is sock puppeting. Uh, so, I mean, in effect, all your characters are sock puppets, right? But one of the things that is very, very tempting is your at some point your players may get stuck, right? Or things may die down, and uh, it seems like nobody's paying attention anymore. Um, no, I don't have the documents from those. Like the effort it would take, Nick, for me to go find those documents, I'm not going to do it. uh, so it's very tempting to pose as a player, go into places where players hang out, and try and say, "Hey, I saw this thing. I'm thinking about this," and give hints, right, as a player. So um, the problem is that then if that player seems really smart, um, the other players will start deferring to that sock puppet. Um, so, for instance, one year they had a timeline, a very specific timeline where every day the villain was doing something, and if they didn't solve the puzzle or do the thing by a certain time, then the villain succeeded, right? And it didn't matter anymore if they solved the puzzle or did the activity after that time, after 5 p.m. Because the villain had already succeeded in that day's plan. And so they had a sock puppet, a player character, who every day around 5 or 6 would come in and say, "I solved the puzzle," and solve it. Because they figure, well, let's not torture them. Let's tell them the answer, and because it doesn't matter anymore because the bad guy won that day. So what started happening after like the second day, the players would just say, "Hey, let's wait for Pete to save it, to solve it. He's really good at these," right? And so they were losing because the villain's not telling them, "Blah, I've won this day." He's just quietly going about his evil, nefarious plan. And Pete was this sock puppet who they thought was their MVP. So what happens is they were playing their own game, and the players weren't playing the game itself. They were just sitting around waiting for the game to advance. Um, and that same ARG convention where I met the Jejun people, another Canadian ARG group got up and were giving their presentation, and they were like, yes, we had shills. And all these professional ARG makers went, and they're like, what? And they got the explanation that it's verboten in the ARG community to put shills in among the players. So in fact, that Unfiction forum that I showed you last week sometime, they had one hard and fast rule. That forum was off limits to any characters or in-game information. It was a safe space for players to come and talk about ARGs, knowing that every other poster there was also a player, right? And it was in their EULA or terms that you had to agree to when you signed up, that if you are running an ARG, it was fine to come in and watch the players figure out your ARG. But if you post as characters, and you are discovered or you reveal yourself somehow, that account will be banned. All mention of your ARG will be stricken from the forum, and any new threads about your ARG will be deleted. So basically, they were using the power of their forum to enforce their own forum rules, where nobody who is a character could be in that forum. So for instance, on your forum, and it's also tempting to do this, to have a player just be playing along, be a casual, right? This is also something that happens. And be like, wow, you guys are really smart. Hey, has anybody looked at this? Wow, you guys are really smart, and not really solve anything, but just be kind of a cheerleader on the side. And then reveal and say, "Wow, I am the evil villain, and I've been monitoring you the entire time, and now I know everything about you and your plans and your plots," right? And there is nothing that will shut down discussion and shut down your own ARG faster than saying this was never a safe space and you can't trust anyone you've been talking to, because I'm the villain. You thought I was your friend. Who else do you think is your friend that might also be one of my sock puppets? Huh? And then everybody stops talking, and then there's no ARG. Nobody solves anything, right? So it's fine. Like I noticed Jenny popped in somewhere in let's see, is it? No. Yeah, Jenny. So on the Truth Seekers Discord, have you guys found that yet? Yeah. Jenny popped in and said, hey, I'm here, basically. And Jenny's job is to be like, I don't know, can you help me? Right? But we know who Jenny is, right? Jenny is the cake girl, the recipe girl. So that's fine. It's okay, but it also says there are characters in this place where we're talking. So depending on how things go, things might change in that forum, and you have to um, switch around. So do you still have what can we do? Can we do that but try to throw them off? I'm sorry, Eddie. What was that in reference to? 320. Oh, that was the trolls. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that at all. And frankly, you never ever want to make things harder for players. You always want to pull new players in. Um, so don't pretend to be a player at all. Um, it's bad. How about just starting a discussion to get the ball rolling? Have your characters do it. If your characters are clearly your characters, that Jenny over in their Discord can certainly. Well, isn't that you? Is that you or them? I don't even remember. Who's Jenny? Is Jenny you guys? Them. Okay. Um, so Jenny can now say, I don't think that's pertinent. Maybe this other thing, and or just be on there saying, guys, I haven't heard anything from any of you. I'm still confused. You got to solve this, right? And do that kind of uh, uh, pointing and cheerleading. And she's not pretending to be a player, right? Your characters can give all the hints you need them to give. As long as we know they're coming from characters, we decide whether we trust those characters or not. It's when we don't know that someone is being a character that it gets goofy and weird. Okay? Okay. So, so are we happy with where they are? Luna, Liv? Have they solved today? Is everything on track? 2 story beats, 2 puzzles. Have they got everything for today? Yes. I'm seeing yes from Luna. Okay. So let's go down the line. 3 p.m. Writers, Sebastian, can you pop in and tell us where we are with writing and what the plan is for the next 24 hours or so? Anything need to be done?
Well, the good news is most of writing's job was done before this entire thing was launched because we need to have a lot of stuff ready to actually be able to make all the story beats work. Right now, writing is sort of just on standby, waiting for other groups in case they need anything, but we don't actively have anything to do for the next 24 hours.
Okay. So in general, if you don't have anything to do, go play their game. Writers, go play their game. But things like tweets, right? Who's writing the tweets? Or
it's mixed. It's just it's just whoever takes it up. It's mostly the different group leaders tweeting out as necessary.
Okay.
I think I've been mostly
it's
because they were written beforehand by I think Kristen, and I've just been sending them out.
Okay. Then they're pre-written. Okay. So writers are in good shape. Artists, Avery, how we doing? What's going on? What's the plan for the next 24 hours?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we're in the same boat as writing. We've done all the art assets that were needed to complete the game, and we're just waiting to see if anyone needs some last-minute art bits, and then that's it.
Okay, wow. So let me just say that some years we get to Thursday and there's mass panic. right? Because everybody was focused on the rabbit hole. And here we are at 3:00 on Thursday, and the plan, there was a plan for what was supposed to happen on Thursday, but didn't happen, and everybody's panicking and yelling at each other. Very happy to hear two groups now say, yeah, everything's done. On the other hand, all right, don't get complacent. Listen to what your players are saying. So, again, at one of these ARG conferences, I was sitting having a drink actually, and we were going around a table and saying who we were and what ARGs we had played. And this one woman said, yeah, I was the lead writer on this ARG, which was not something I was familiar with. And one of the other women at the table said, oh my God, I played that ARG. Oh, and I was the one who figured out that Steve was poisoned. And the writer said, oh, really? You were? Huh. Well, let me tell you about that. We knew Steve died. We had no plans for revealing how he died. And then we saw on the forum, somebody wrote this whole long post about why Steve was poisoned and how she was sure that Steve was poisoned, and some theories on who did it. And we all looked at each other and said, I guess Steve was poisoned. Okay. And they ran with that, and it became a central thing that happened on that day, where a player advanced a theory and they were like, yes, that is exactly what happened. She is correct. We had no idea that how correct she was until just this moment. And basically they let the players do some writing for them, and then picked one of her theories as this is what's correct and tweaked it and slid it into the rest of the ARG. So keep an eye out on what they're thinking, right? One of the things we didn't get to do this year is I usually start week 1 of this class with improv, right? And the very first lesson of improv is to always say yes and, right? So if somebody comes out and says, I'm a samurai, you say, yes, and I am a geisha, right? And you build off of whatever they give you, right? So writing an art, yeah, improv is always fun. Although people freak out about improv sometimes, because the thing about improv, the only wrong answer is to say nothing, right? So I have been known to get exuberant from time to time, and we'll be in the middle of improv and somebody will freeze up, and because it's and all they have to do, somebody said bacon, and you have to come up with a response to bacon, and I'm like, say something. And they're like, and I'm like, pig. That's okay. Now you can't use that. Say something else. Eggs. Now you can't use that. I said that. You got to come up with something else. Stop before I do it again. That freaks them out. See, you got it, Karen. Pork. Right. So anyway, so build off what they give you, and part of that is keeping an eye on what they're talking about, right? So that's also kind of why you need a forum where they feel like they can let their hair down and talk about whatever they're thinking about. So so that you can read it, right? Not that so you can jump in there and respond to it, but so that you can read it and incorporate it into your game, right? Okay. Avery, we talked to you. Lena, what's gameplay up to?
Hi, sorry, I had my window
That's
muted.
okay. Is
So
it Lena or Lena?
Lena,
Lena. Okay, sorry.
so we have been going through and verifying that all the puzzles work and they're paced properly, so that people don't get too ahead. There's a document we've been updating with links and things to make it easier to run the game
Okay.
each day.
How do you feel they're are they crushing your puzzles, or are they taking too long, or is it just right, or what?
From what I've seen, they're pretty much on track. We had a couple of people who definitely are a little more perceptive and got a bit ahead, but that's kind of it.
Okay.
Other than that, we're pretty much done. We're just working out some last minute kinks in the player flow.
Okay, good. So you're still working. I mean, gameplay is the hardest working group. Not well, I don't want to say that, but you're the gang who has to keep figuring out difficulty levels, right? Is it, if they're stuck, what clue do we give, and throw that to the writers? If they're crushing things, then maybe we could do something a little harder, and what would that be? So you are the adaptive AI of the game, right? So also, is there, do you have a way of knowing if people have solved your puzzles each time they've solved?
Mostly we just have those like checkpoints each day where we have some people contact a character.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we have the character respond the next day, you know.
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. If nobody contacts the character, you know they haven't solved it or haven't tried. Okay. Moving on to tech. Dennis. Dennis here?
Don't believe he's here.
I'm pretty sure he's asleep.
Okay.
He has not responded at all today. He was a problem, but it's so. If anybody else in tech knows how to fix the autoresponders, that would be swell.
Anybody else from tech here? Adam, Eddie. Eddie's always here. Brian.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix the autoresponder. I'm not sure exactly what he used to set that up. So I'll have to wait on him for that. But I can look into the forum thing and try and find a better way of doing that.
Okay. And shifting forums at this point is not a game-breaking thing. I think it'll be fine, especially because the forum you have is for what nobody trusts that corporation. I've already seen on the Discord, they're like, oh, this corporation is either stealing her recipe or trying to sell poison cookies. I'm sure of it. Right. So
well, we love that. That's a
Yeah.
fun train of thought.
yeah.
Can't wait for them to find out what's actually going on.
So well, but that's the thinking right away is corporations are evil, right? Okay. And finally recruiting, Alex and/or Logan.
Yeah, I can talk for this.
Okay.
So
I saw your
yesterday
email, by the way, and was halfway through writing a response, and then I don't know what happened. And today I saw that I had abandoned a halfway response to your email and said, well, it's way too late to respond to this. But it seemed like from what I saw in the Discord, you were on top of it anyway.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Okay.
I figured it out when I looked through the assignment. But But yeah, so yesterday we made our posts. We were initially going to wait until 5 p.m. like when it went live, but then Logan found the other class's rabbit hole in the WPI Discord. So after we saw that, we figured we'd just post everything. So I sent emails to like IMGD faculty, IMGD majors, IMGD minors.
Right. I
Logan
saw that
posted
email.
yeah, on the Reddit, on the Discords, on the IMGD Discord and the WPI one. Also on like Facebook class pages, stuff like that. I did get an email back about the DM problem, and that was kind of my fault because I initially set up that Twitter and I didn't think to open the DMs, which I know is quite an oversight, especially since I told them to DM the player. So I apologize for that.
Yeah. It used to be default to open. And then so many people were like, I'm getting harassed in my DMs for something I said on Twitter, and why is this open as a default, that they switched it to closed as a default.
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought public Twitters like always had open DMs, but I was wrong on that.
Yeah.
So like I said, that was kind of my fault.
Honestly, if
other
you'd have
than
asked me, I wouldn't have known either.
okay. Other than that, I did post on the like Ardeo Corp forum today, just linking to Lucy's blog, just in case anyone was checking that. I'll switch forums whenever we find out what we're going to for like moving forward. And then also, I know some of you probably got tagged in my Discord message like really early this morning. That was just because I was moving out of Worcester, but I was just tagging everybody who like was on the list for responsible for playing the other classes ARC today. So I was planning on doing that every day.
So how are we doing in playing the other classes ARGs? People who are playing, have you found everything? Do you think you found everything? Do you think you've not found everything? What's it looking like? Avery says we've been discovering some fun stuff. Like?
Well, I think every person that like got an email response got a personalized email response, which means that they like went through every single email and emailed us back, which I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all in a template. I mean, I'll tell you what I got. Let's see. I sent to Jenny, right? Hello, here. Well, yeah. Hello, Jenny. I realize as a reporter you have no control over the website design, but maybe talk to your web people about the current issue of the Worcester Bugle. And what's that symbol down in the corner, right? And I got back. Well, let me share it. I'll share it. Share screen there. Share. Normally I would forward your email to my editor, but he's fallen into a coma recently. I don't know. Is that the same as what other people were getting? Or is it different?
There's like a block of text that's the same for everyone. Avery and I both posted what we got in response because I emailed them and was like, could you tell me about your sources for this article? And the person emailed me back with like, I'm not at liberty to discuss what my sources are, and a couple other lines, and then the same like collective block of text.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does use the name I put. Avery says it's almost the exact same as his. Olivia's was different. Maybe yours because you wrote something different. I'd be interested over people who are not in this class to see what kind of stuff they were getting. Because there are some people, like there are lots of people who got this, who found the Worcester Bugle. So I don't know. I admit I have not solved that cipher URL, but I would bet it's some kind of Caesar cipher. I'm guessing. I joined the Discord immediately, and then there's 3 new websites, or 2 new websites, and a Twitter, right? Cletus, who is a fairy hunter, which I kind of love. Professional fairy hunter, watcher of the government. 54. Hey, I got an so so you guys crushed much more than I got around to, just because I have other meetings all day and it's crazy. So okay. If nothing else, yeah, Twitter is fun. The Twitter is fun. Not Twitter in general, but that Twitter. I think Twitter in general is fun. What I find is that most students aren't on Twitter when they get here, but by the time they graduate, they are on Twitter. And once they graduate, like students start on Facebook and end on Twitter, it seems like. Because by the time people graduate or are a year or so out of here, they're on Twitter, but they're not on Facebook anymore. So at least based on their posts, or maybe they all unfriend me once they graduate. I don't know. So, okay, we are out of time. This was good. Keep up the good work. Proud of you all. This seems to be running smoothly. Go solve their stuff. Also, there was a bunch of SKC stuff happening, but the bloom is off that rose to me. I don't think they're doing a particularly great job at this point. I think you guys have done better over 2 days than they did over their first 2 days. So go figure. Okay. So we will see you tomorrow. Keep it up. Yay.